What would you do if the one person you trusted more than anyone in the world was living a complete lie? The night everything broke was a Tuesday. I was staring at my phone, the screen glowing at 2 a.m. in our silent Chicago bedroom on North Clark Street. Her name was Jessica, my wife of 10 years, and her phone was in my hand. A single text message, a ghost on the screen from a man I didn't know, read, "Last night was incredible. Can't stop thinking about you. He'll be gone for the whole week, right?" My business trip to Miami wasn't for another 2 days. My blood ran cold. The woman sleeping peacefully beside me, the one I'd built my entire life around, was a stranger. And in that moment, I knew my trip was canceled. She just wouldn't know it. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel, tell us where you're from, and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. The next morning was a masterclass in deception, and I was her star pupil. "Don't forget to pack your swim trunks," she said, kissing me at the door, her eyes sparkling with a duplicity I was now painfully aware of. I felt the bile rise in my throat but forced a smile. "Wouldn't miss it," I replied, my voice a hollow echo of the man I was yesterday. I drove to O'Hare, parked my car in the long-term lot, and then took a cab to a cheap motel on the other side of town, place with peeling paint and the lingering smell of stale cigarettes. My humiliation was a physical weight, pressing down on my chest. For 10 years, I'd been the loyal, predictable husband, the good guy. Now, I was a ghost in my own city, watching my life implode from a grimy motel window. Her behavior, which I'd previously dismissed as stress, now came into sharp focus. The late nights with the girls, the sudden obsession with her phone, the way she'd angle the screen away from me. It was a slow-motion car crash I'd been too blind to see. I started digging. Credit card statements revealed dinners I wasn't at cozy little spots in Lincoln Park. Phone records showed calls to a single number. Dozens of them. Always when she thought I was in meetings. The name attached to the number was Mark, a partner at her law firm. Smug, arrogant Mark who I'd met at company parties and always disliked on instinct. He was the kind of guy who wore his success like a cheap suit, too tight and shiny. Jessica grew colder, more manipulative. When I'd try to connect, she'd push me away with a sigh. "You're being so needy lately, David," she'd say, her voice dripping with condescension. "I'm just busy with work." They felt untouchable. Wrapped in their bubble of arrogance and secret rendezvous at the Four Seasons downtown, I saw a charge for it on the statement. "Room service for 2, champagne." The image of them laughing, toasting to their deception while I was at home waiting for her, shattered me. I spent a full night on the floor of that motel room, the kind of broken that feels permanent, where the tears are silent because you don't even have the energy to make a sound. But then, something inside me shifted. The grief curdled into a cold, hard resolve. The broken man was gone, replaced by a strategist. I wasn't just going to leave her. I was going to dismantle her. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop who'd seen it all. He was my shadow, gathering the proof I needed. Photos of them kissing in a parking garage. Video of them entering his high-rise apartment in the Gold Coast, not leaving until morning. Every piece of evidence was a nail in her coffin. I learned that Mark was not only her lover, but also a key player in a major case her firm was handling. A clear conflict of interest that could get them both disbarred. In the final piece, Jessica had been moving money from our joint savings into a private account for months. The trap was set. Her parents' 30th wedding anniversary party was the stage. It was a grand affair at a lavish ballroom overlooking the Chicago River, filled with her family, colleagues, and friends, the very people whose approval she craved. I made my entrance an hour in, looking like the doting husband she'd sent off on a business trip. The look of pure shock on her face was the first taste of victory. She and Mark exchanged a panicked glance. I walked to the microphone, ostensibly to give a toast. I started by talking about love, trust, and 10 years of marriage. Then my tone shifted. I spoke of betrayal, and then I started showing the pictures projected onto a massive screen for everyone to see. The room fell into a dead, horrified silence. I read their text messages aloud. I detailed the secret bank accounts. I finished by announcing I had already filed for divorce on grounds of adultery and submitted a formal, Complaint to the State Bar Association against both of them. Jessica stood frozen, her face a mask of ruin. Her father, a man I respected, looked at her with utter disgust. Mark tried to slip out, but the room was watching. They were utterly, completely destroyed. I didn't stay to watch the fallout. I just placed the microphone back on the stand and walked out, leaving the smoldering ruins of her life behind me. I never saw her again, but I heard the whispers. She was fired, disbarred, ostracized by her family. A ghost in a city that once adored her. Sometimes late at night, I sit in the quiet of my new apartment, and I wonder if she ever thinks about that Tuesday. The silence in my life now is louder than her lies ever were.